I love the way the First Gen Lounge makes me feel.
Because it creates a space where I belong. Where we're able to create community.
The fact that it's a community.
It's a safe place.
It also gives me a place to understand different perspectives.
The stories of these individuals prescribe transformational perspective.
I receive encouragement, enlightenment, empowerment.
And also serve as a catalyst to just keep going.
Where we're able to be our true selves.
I'm allowed to be an unapologetic first gen.
And above all else, tell our story.
And every episode is unique.
I love it.
I'm your host, Dr. Eve, and I'd like to welcome you to the First Gen Lounge. Hello to you, you, and you. And if you are new, hey to you too. I be so silly sometimes, don't I? Can't help myself. I really don't feel like I can help myself, but you know, joy is like one of life's medicines. So we're just gonna roll with that. So I've been in my head, you know, I be all up in my head. I be thinking. But really, I be thinking. And one of the things that's really been on my mind is like how far I've come. Every now and then I like to pause and just reflect and to give myself a moment of grace, a moment of just being intentional about seeing my progress, because what I've learned through the years is that when you don't take a moment to just really sit and look at your life and the things that have come of your life, you may miss a whole lot about your life that are moments worth celebrating, moments worth acknowledging, moments that are just worth saying, well, damn, okay. And in all of this reflection, I kept landing on a few moments from back in the day. Yeah, I ain't gonna even say how long ago, but back in the day when there were more mature women in my life who used to say things to me like, don't rush to get married, take your time. You know, when you think about getting married, enjoy your life, get to know yourself first. And you know, I've been someone for as long as I can remember. I've appreciated and even sought out the wisdom of those who have lived more than myself, because I think it's important to be able to learn and just gain their knowledge and their wisdom in my own pursuit of life. And I don't even know, I can't tell you exactly why these women would have ever told me this. I'm just gonna be straight up. Like, I don't know the conversation we were having, but I remember it because all these years later, I mean, clearly it's still coming up. Like they were significant. I carried them, you know, just kind of whenever somebody who's, like I said, more mature, they give me some life advice, even if it's not solicited, I tend to like take it and say, okay, I don't know what I'll do with this now, but one day I'm sure that it'll make sense. So in that, something that I found striking when I was exploring, again, these thoughts were why they said it, right? Because, you know, people will tell you stuff, but they don't always tell you why. So like there are so many, you know, seasoned folks who will say something, but then you still don't get a reason. So it's like, oh, it's for you to figure it out. And you can't be like, well, why? I mean, I guess you could be, but I don't know if that means that you know, being rude or anything like that. But yeah, anyway, I noticed at this point in my life, as I re-examine and re-explore, again, these pearls of wisdom, that they weren't trying to be haters, right? That what they were saying to me is know who you are before you join your life with somebody. But more than anything, know who you are. Simply know who you are. You don't realize how much of life you haven't lifed until you've lifed, right? But with time, hopefully for most, there comes wisdom. And you don't think about always, but I mean, they've lived, so they've thought about it, what it really means to know yourself. And even to touch briefly, because I mentioned, you know, even before you get married, because that was a context for which we spoke, right? And so what I understand now about what they were saying is who you are when you're single is who you'll be in a relationship. So thinking about the insecurities you may have, thinking about the things that, you know, you worry about or that you don't like about yourself, getting into a relationship you can't hide those things, or you can try to hide those things, but it won't be but for so long that those things actually surface and are things you can't hide, that things that you can't repress, or whatever you try to do to make them like they're not really things. And you find yourself dealing with them in those relationships, sometimes thinking that the person that you're with is going to deal with them for you or erase all these things or make it go away, but that's not true. And not just that, it's not fair to go into a relationship with someone, right, thinking that they're going to solve all your problems or make all the things about yourself that you don't like go away, because what you then do is put these, again, unrealistic, unfair expectations on the person that you're with to come in and fix it and make it right. And that can be a lot of pressure for a person to come in and try to fix all the things that it's really your job to fix. But we don't want to talk about that today, do we? Nah, okay, so let's keep going. But yeah, but thinking again what they were saying about the get to know yourself, Explore Life is also saying it's going to help you pick the good, better, best person for you. Because when you are clear about who you are and you're honest about who you are, you navigate the world differently. So when you haven't done the work to heal, when you haven't done the work to explore your interests, when you haven't given yourself the space to truly be happy by yourself, then what you do, again, is look to the person to make you happy, and then you lie all of your eggs in the basket of, here is from where my happiness is supposed to come from. And if they're not making me happy, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing to make sure that I'm good, that I'm not going to be good. Oh, if that ain't wrong. Because what you have to know is you've got to be good on your own. And it's my belief that partners should complement, not complete, but we're going to save that conversation for another day. And so while I've been, in this space of talking about relationships, I had a moment, a light bulb moment, like they were teaching me game beyond relationships. They were teaching me game for life, right? But it came in the form of knowing who you are and taking your time before you commit to this thing that is grand, this thing that is big, this thing that is life altering. But every part of life, be it that we are pursuing careers, education, whatever that looks like, when we make commitments to things, how we experience those things are contingent on who and how we know ourselves to be. And I was like, damn, this deep, because that's for real. Knowing who you are allows you to go into a workspace, one, to pick the right workspace, or at least as best as you can based off of your interview and the questions you may ask. Like, do you ever look at an interview for a job, like going on a date with a person, deciding not just if they want you, but if you want them? Like, ooh, that's a bar, ain't it? That was real good. I'm gonna clap for myself on that one. That was a good, but that's how you can start to see it. What are the mutual and shared interests and goals that you have? But who are you to come to this space? And is this really going to work out? Or are you going to say it's going to work out, just for now, I'm just going to play around and have fun. But then how does getting into that workspace, as I'm paralleling it to a relationship, right? How does it add value? And it's not the thing that makes you whole. So when you get these evaluations that maybe you don't agree with, you not freaking out. Or if you decide it just ain't working out anymore and it's time for you to go the other way, who are you without this space, this culture, these people, right? But even like that's game. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I really just got excited, clearly, right? And even going forward, when you think about being in toxic work environments, just like a toxic relationship, you got to muster up the nerve to be able to look, I'm up out of here, but I also trust that I can find something that is better for me, somebody who's going to value me, somebody who's going to appreciate me, but I know what I deserve. And you're not going to hold on to that thing just because it's all you think you got. Yes, okay? And then the other thing, again, thinking about the knowing yourself and taking your time, it just in life, period, a lot of times we feel like we have to rush to do things, but there are still experiences that we've yet to have, that until we have those experiences, are we able to say this thing is or isn't for me? But also thinking about the getting to know yourself and not rushing yourself, because the thing is, be it that it's career, because look, I was higher ed to the core, right? And ended up switching into entrepreneurship and have been on the path for over 5 years at this point. So if I had not had experiences or gotten to know myself and asked some of the hard questions, would I have made the transition out of higher education? Probably not, probably not. But again, becoming aware of who I am and what I needed to enjoy a certain quality of life helped me to make the decision to say, I think I'm going to go this way rather than that way. But also, when I say not to rush, sometimes we find ourselves in spaces in our careers where maybe we think we should be further along, or maybe in relationships or education or anything that we're supposed to be further along. But do you ever think about the fact that when and if you don't rush yourself, you give yourself time to truly take in the experiences to be able to make decisions for going forward? So even being able to say, maybe I do need to transition out of this degree and go to another one. And the same thing applies to, again, your career or any relationship or any experience in your life, period. By not rushing, you allow yourself to really say, is this for me? And make a change sooner than later, because quality of life matters, your happiness matters. And if everything is a rush and a goal to be achieved and something to check off, are you really giving life the time that it deserves? Not just the time, the attention rather, that it deserves to be able to say, this path is the one that I should be on. And also, by not rushing, we free ourselves of the expectations and the pressure that I gotta be here and I gotta be there, I gotta do this and I gotta do that by a certain time. Because while time is of the essence, here's the thing that I know: we always end up where we're supposed to be exactly when we're supposed to be there. So even in understanding, that as a perspective, I think that by being in no rush, we automatically give ourselves grace for the changes that we want to make in our lives. We give ourselves space to grow into who we are. Like, I know who I am right now, right? So that's the being self-aware. And I'm strong in that. But who I may be 5 years from now is going to be somebody different. And if I don't rush myself to do a certain thing, then I can allow myself to become who and what I'm supposed to be, and know that I haven't failed because something else didn't work out. So it's just so interesting to me, though. Again, just these few lessons of life from these women who were talking about relationships and not rushing, but it spills over into every part of our lives. And it fascinates me because even thinking about the relationship part that I was talking about earlier, when you know who you are, as best as you can in each moment of your life, even in going to like a job space, right? You won't be looking for validation externally from like a supervisor or your employees. Not when you know you already the sugar honey iced tea. And so you go in and do what you do, and to not take on the fact that you have a culture or a work environment that may be making you feel like you're inadequate when you know you bomb like that. So there are things that I find that I'm like, dang, I'm not relying on my peers or my supervisors to make me feel whole, because those are relationships too, right? And then the one part that I hadn't even talked about, which is my favorite part, being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, my goodness. Knowing who you are and taking your time, it really determines how you show up in business, but not just how you show up in it. Who you are as an entrepreneur, the kind of business that you should even be running. Like, when you know who you are, then it doesn't make sense for you to run a business that's going to require you to be up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Or if you just say, well, because I value the money, then this is a sacrifice that I'm going to make, depending on what you do. I don't know what that looks like. That was just a random example. But especially being an entrepreneur, there are so many things that you can do to control for factors, and there are so many more things that are out of your control. So by knowing who I am Is this even something that I should be doing in the first place? Is this aligned with who I am and how I live and what I believe about my life? But not just that. Am I trying to hurry up and get to 6 figures or become a millionaire, and I'm rushing, not even realizing who I'm becoming along the way in that? Am I paying attention to my growth? Am I paying attention to what I do and to what I don't like? How am I handling, some of the criticism from those who are outsiders? Or how am I approaching investors? Or what am I doing about this new project or thing that I want to take on? Like, knowing who you are lets you know even the weight that you can and maybe can't carry as an entrepreneur, but also to say, here are things that I need to let go of, and this is what I want to do more of. So it's just so much that I made it that it comes to be. But why I also live through the lens of self-awareness and personal development are key to quality of life, because when you know who you are, you know how to move. You know what matters. You know what's important. You know what decisions to make ultimately. And that's what it comes down to, right? What is going to make me the happiest and bring me the most joy? And that's not for other people to be able to answer. Going back to what I said earlier, even thinking about the relationships thing, it's for you to answer that. It's for you to know. Because even as an entrepreneur, when you have people who are criticizing your products and or your services and doing so publicly, again, those are in their ways, they're relationships, because you have customer relationships. That's exactly what it is. And you don't want them to be mad, but are you strong enough in yourself to say, yeah, this could change. Yeah, this could be different and I can work on that. But are you completely shot down on the fact that you got somebody or a couple people who had bad reviews? Sometimes that's like your partner telling you something that you just really don't want to hear, but you care, so you take it into consideration, knowing that they're not doing it to be spiteful, although some people do. But they're doing it because they care, or whatever said thing is, it matters to them, and so they want to bring it up and let you know. But how do you, as a person, handle criticism? How do you handle negativity? How do you handle those things? Because again, knowing yourself is how you show up in your relationship, in your workspace, in your academic spaces, in all the spaces. And as it is said, wherever you go, there you will be. So I'm going to wrap this up now, because I'm sure you get the point. It don't take long. But I want to remind you, all right, in this moment in time, that you are wonderful and you are incredible as you are. And however you want to improve or change or do things different, you can. But my hope for you is that you trust you enough, that you get to know you enough, and that you are okay enough with whoever you may be, however you may be, to just continue to be real about it in all the spaces that you may be in. Because it's not even about the other people appreciate it, although they will, but you will appreciate it a whole lot more. So know who you are and don't rush yourself, because knowing who you are creates space for you to be happy, and not rushing yourself creates opportunities for you to evolve. Know that I love you. I'm always cheering for you. And if you don't do nothing else, keep pressing forward.